Hello there, morons! It's Victor on the Gimme Flake Man channel. I got a new hat. Remember my Chinese hat? It got busted up. I got a new one. What do you think? Huh? Not bad. At the Sankyu store. Sankyu means 3Q. That makes sense. 3-9 and 3-9 in Japanese is Sankyu, and Sankyu is another way to say thank you. It's called a thank you store. Anyway, today we're doing a video by request by a friend actually that I met in real life. I was walking down the street in front of the Atomic Memorial, the Atomic Dome in Hiroshima about 2 years ago. And this guy walks up to me and says, "Hey, you're Gimme Break Man!" And I thought he was going to punch me. No, I said, I actually didn't think that, but for some reason I thought it would be funny to ask him. I said, "Are you gonna punch me or something?" Anyway, he emailed me this morning and he asked me, he lives here in Japan, and he asked me to kind of explain what's happening right now in the news, because there's a big story about a guy named Shimada Shinsuke. And he's all over the news, and to be honest, I didn't know his name, but I knew his face because he's on a lot of programs that I actually enjoy. One program that my wife and I like watching on Sundays, you know, when we have nothing else to do, or if it's raining or something, is a show where they bring out, they have this panel of experts, and they bring out like stuff that they found at garage sales. I don't know where they found it, but they bring out these artifacts of these things, and they try to determine the prices of these things. And some of them are really expensive. Some of them are toys, some of them are vases, some of them are paintings, you know, Japanese stuff. And some are collector's items, some are not. Anyway, and you know, they have other celebrities come on. That's one of the things about Japanese TV that's kind of interesting. And unlike American variety shows where you got the Joe on the street comes in and wins, you know, money, in Japan, on Japanese TV, on these kind of variety shows or these shows of interest, you know, these quiz game shows, they have people that you already know. A little bit like not Wheel of Fortune, the what's the tic-tac-toe? Is it called tic-tac-toe? Celebrity tic-tac-toe? They're like tic-tac-toe kind of thing, but they're always changing. Anyway, this guy, Shimada Shinsuke, is actually, he's got 5 or 6 shows. Another one that he's very, very well known for is Gyoretsu no Dekiru Horitsu Sodan Jo, Quiz Hexagon 2. I think that's his most popular one. Kayu Nandemo Kantei Dan, that's the one I like, or where they check out the prices, you know. It's just interesting actually, because I'm always like, just me and my wife like to compete with each other, you know, who's better at telling the price and stuff. I'm really bad with vegetables and fruit though. I can't tell what anything's worth. Anyway, there's a bunch of those. So let me tell you a little bit about this guy and who he is, and I'll link some stuff in the bottom so you can see what everyone in Japan is talking about right now. First of all, his name is actually Kimihiko Hasegawa. And he was born in 1952. That's his original name, his birth name. His stage name is Shinsuke Shimada. Remember, Japanese names have the same backwards. That's why I hesitated. Shimada Shinsuke. And he's what we call a manzai, which is basically a comedian. They often work in pairs. And he's known for his articulate style. He's he's quite a chatterbox. He's very quick. He's very quick on his feet. Very witty. He's kind of a rough, tough-looking guy. He's got kind of a kind of rough, gnarly face. You'll see his pictures. What else can I say? He's well known for demeaning other people to the point that he gets like hate mail for being mean. But he's also extremely popular, as you can tell when you got like 6 shows. Now you might think that's crazy, 6 shows, right? Well, if you think about the States, you know, got the Jay Leno show every night, right? So it's it's not that different, or the Letterman show. But it's not uncommon. Like you'll see SMAP. There's like a boy band / acting / variety / cooking group here in Japan. You see them on TV all the time. And it used to be that when I was I guess kind of a newer guy, and I was kind of like almost disgusted by it. Like, why don't they get some new comedians or some new variety people? It's kind of boring. But you know, the more you watch it, you kind of learn to enjoy it. And it's not that I don't watch American TV, because you know I love Breaking Bad and True Blood. I'm on the edge of my feet every week, and I got to find out what's happening on Curb Your Enthusiasm. We can't wait till Dexter starts up. But anyway, Japan is different. So he's known for ad-libbing his shows, and he's not without controversy. So in 2004, I remember there was a big controversy where he actually decked a woman, and I got some different reports here. Some people say he went to jail. He apparently was, he either quit, he didn't go to jail. He was fined 300,000 yen, but another person told me he paid her 10 million yen compensation. I don't know how much of that is true. You can do your own research. That's not really the point of today's story. But here's this is what's interesting to me, to tell you, for me as a foreigner living here. He decked a woman, man. He like decked a woman. And he's back on TV. It was either 2 months later or 6 months later. But can you imagine, like, Mel Gibson hosting his own show after, like, what happened with that woman, the Russian woman that he was, you know, the mother of his child? I mean, can you imagine that happen? It just wouldn't happen, I think, in the States. I don't know about other countries. What about your countries? Do you guys know? I mean, we do, of course, have wife beaters all over the world. It isn't like a Japanese. Why do I laugh when that's so uncomfortable? Yeah, wife beaters all over the place. But some countries, I suppose, are more forgiving of them. I asked my students who are housewives, you know, most of them, and they're like, yeah, I don't like him, but I watch his shows. So they don't really care that he's on TV. He did apologize. He was off TV for a while. One big thing in Japan is if you show penance, if you show you're really sorry. By the way, check out the new Curb Enthusiasm to show how to apologize correctly if you're Japanese, although none of the actors are really Japanese. So he's back on TV, right? Now in 2009, there was another incident where they had all these new comedians on. Oh yeah, this is the thing about this guy. He's like a Godfather type comedian. Like, he's been around a long time. Kind of like me, you know, on YouTube, you know. The new guys coming in, showing me disrespect. And, you know, sometimes you gotta put them into place, you know. So, no, seriously, there's this trio, I think it was called Tokyo 3 or 03 Tokyo, something like that. This, in 2009, and I'll try to find a link and put it in the description. They were all doing this live show together, and they showed him disrespect by just, they were also just being unprofessional. They were like babbling during commercial breaks, and they weren't paying attention, they were looking like bored, and he got really pissed off. He goes, "What are you doing?" You know. And they caught it on camera. I don't know if there's a clip of that. If you do, send me the clip and I'll put it in the description. I got a class in in an hour, so I don't really have a lot of time. But I do want to make this video for you guys. I haven't done one of these news ones in a while either. But okay, this is one that's interesting. So there's a guy named Jake Adelstein. He's pretty well known for covering mafia stories or Yakuza stories here in Japan. He was on the Daily Show. And I kind of don't like him a little bit. Just he seemed a little bit like he was displaying like just the crazy stuff in Japan, and it isn't that crazy. It isn't like you walk like. I mean, you also don't see that many, you know, Yakuza. It isn't like you bump into him. I think I've truly seen one guy that I think was like a mob boss because he got out of his dark tinted window and all these big bouncers came out and surrounded the car and made sure he got out. But I think mostly you don't see them. You do see a lot of what we call chimpira and Yankees, which are like which are not really Yakuza. They're just punks, you know, they're punks, right? So okay, so Jake Adelstein wrote an article before the announcement. So hold on, maybe I should slow down here. I know I'm trying to say a lot here. What's this news story about? This guy Shinsuke Shimada announced his retirement yesterday, and before he did that, this guy Adelstein wrote an article, pretty much predicting what it would be about, and he has some sources anyway. So here's the thing. You can put it down there, but I'll tell you about it. So Shimada was friends with this guy Goto. This is the guy's name, right? And he was a kind of a high-level boss in the Yamaguchi-gumi clan. Yamaguchi-gumi is like one of the biggest mafia groups here. And that guy had to retire for some reason. I don't know why. In 2008. And at that time, he became friends. Shimada, the comedian, became friends with kind of the next. It doesn't say exactly in the article, but it sounds like the next guy in line. And a little bit later, actually, I guess fairly recently, he referred to Goto not using the honorable san or sama, and that kind of referral is called yobiste. Yobiste. Ste means throw away. So this expression yobiste means to refer to someone without saying Mr. basically. You know, instead of saying Mr. Bojo, which is my name, instead of saying Mr. Bojo, you would say, "Hey Bojo." You know. Anywho, yeah, that's actually my real name, Victor Bojo. Anyway, so that's called dropping the honorific, and that's a no-no with people you're supposed to show respect to, but it's completely fine with friends. I mean, we do it all the time, you know. But some people get their knickers all in a bunch of words. So Goto wrote this book called Habakari Nagara, which is basically means I'll say this timidly, or I hesitate to say this hesitatingly. And this is funny. He says he refers to Shimada, the comedian, as a hypocritical little chimpira. Now, chimpira is the word I mentioned a few minutes ago. Chimpira are people who are, well, in this article it says they're the lowest level of Yakuza, but actually, just because you're a chimpira doesn't mean you're Yakuza. It just means you're a punk. And you might enter the Yakuza, you know, if you're lucky, if you're that level of chimpira, but it's a little bit different. Yankees and chimpiras are the kids on the street, you know, committing minor crimes, you know, riding mopeds and snatching purses, that kind of stuff. So anyway, so Goto was so pissed off that he's going to expose Shimada's ties to the Yakuza. Now you might say, what's the big deal, right? And I would agree, what's the big deal? And even Shimada, when he gave his speech, which I will link in the description, there's a few speeches here on YouTube, he's telling everybody, look, I didn't do anything wrong, there's nothing wrong here. Because the reason he's retiring is because he's had a connection with this guy. They've been kind of friends and they emailed a little bit, they text back and forth. You know, nothing romantic, you know. And apparently he's got a restaurant, and this Yakuza guy visited his restaurant. And he's given him some presents for taking care of him, which would be in Japanese, osewa ni naru. Osewa ni naru would be, osewa ni naru, osewa ni narimashita. Would be taking, you know, thank you for taking care of me. Here's a big present, you know, maybe a Rolex or something, who knows. But although he hasn't really done anything bad, he's retiring. So after that, after the big announcement, in which he shed a few tears, you can see here on YouTube, they went out in the street and they interviewed people, and they said, so what do you think? And they're like, oh really? They said, did you hear he's retiring? You know, the reporters, to people on the street, and they're like, everyone was shocked, like, really? What happened? What happened? And they would say, guess what happened? And a lot of the answers were like, women problems. He had women problems, right? But apparently not, he's retiring. So I talked to a fairly intelligent Japanese friend of mine, and she's told me that she thinks that he's retiring because his ratings are low. It's hard to keep the ratings up. And it would be better to do the manly thing, otokorashiku, retire now like a man, before your ratings get too low and you become unsellable. You won't be able to sell yourself. So that could be a publicity stunt, which is called, what is it called? Baimeikōi. That's apparently a publicity stunt. I'll put these in the description here, these words. So some people think it's a publicity stunt. I don't know, of course, I have no idea at all. But I do know this. I have a student who goes to Shanghai once a month. And in Shanghai, they have 50,000 residing Japanese and 30,000 traveling Japanese. So at any one time, there's 80,000 Japanese in Hong Kong. And they have a comedy club there, and that comedy club is full of washed-up comedians. So she went, I mean, they're well-known in Japan, but they're like, you know, they're those, you know, what happened to that guy kind of thing. So she went there, and she actually, the crowds are so small, she actually gets pictures with the comedians too. So if you got nothing to do in Shanghai, you know, and you're Japanese, you go to the comedy club. So to avoid becoming one of these washed-up comedians, what you want to do is make sure that your name still has some resale value. You can still fill the seats. So, you know, the theory is that this guy, Shimada, maybe is doing, you know, the otokorashiku thing, the manly thing, by retiring now while his name can still fill some seats, and he's not going to become one of these Shanghai comedians. Who knows if that's true, but it could be a good ploy. You know, it could be a publicity stunt just to keep his name there, just like, you know, Jerry Seinfeld did when he stopped when Seinfeld was at the top. So that way he still had some respect. You know, he didn't, you know, his show didn't go to hell, and then, you know, like what happened to Charlie Sheen. But anyway, so that's the story right now. That's what's happening. Check the links below in the description for, you know, articles and videos all over YouTube. And if I have time, maybe tomorrow, Yukari and I will sit down and give you a lesson over on the Japanese for Morons channel, where I haven't put a lesson up in a few days there. So go check that out, or keep your eye on that channel. If you're interested in Japanese, remember that all those videos are over there. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. My name is Victor, and well, I'll see you soon.